Welcome to the Cheating Story Lab. Previously, I believed that the most severe form of betrayal was being unfaithful. However, my wife attempted to deceive me with a fabricated pregnancy, unaware that I had undergone vasectomy 2 years prior to our relationship. Some lessons come at a hefty price. This one cost her everything. My name is Blake Donovan, and I am a software engineer residing in Seattle. At 34, I enjoyed a life considered stable by most standards, a good job, a decent apartment, and a wife I had been married to for 3 years named Whitney. She was employed in marketing, cultivating an Instagram presence, and frequently discussed living her truth and attracting prosperity. I should have given more thought to the true meaning behind her words. The pregnancy revelation occurred on a Tuesday evening in March, shortly after I returned home from work. As Whitney emerged from our bathroom with something concealed behind her back, her face displayed an overly dramatic expression of surprise and happiness. "Blake," she said, her voice quivering, "we need to discuss something." I put down my laptop bag. She presented a positive pregnancy test, saying, "We're having a baby." The room seemed to spin slightly, not from joy but from quick mental calculations that didn't match up. I had undergone vasectomy at 27 following my younger brother's death due to a genetic condition common in our family. The procedure was permanent and something I hadn't discussed with Whitney because the subject never came up during our swift romance. I merely uttered, "Wow." "When did you learn this?" "Just now, as I'm late, so I took the test." She watched my face intently. "Aren't you thrilled?" "Of course, but taken aback." I embraced her primarily to hide my facial expression. From behind her, my mind was already spinning. This couldn't be possible. It meant one of two things. Either medical science had made a grave error or Whitney was being dishonest. I decided to wait, observe, and document every detail that night. While Whitney was sleeping, I retrieved the envelope from my home office safe containing documents related to my vasectomy, procedure notes, lab results confirming 0 sperm count, and follow-up appointment records. As an engineer, I keep detailed records. I photographed each page using my phone and uploaded them to a secure cloud account she didn't know existed. The following morning, Whitney was engrossed in her phone before breakfast, rapidly texting. "Are you telling your mom?" I asked. "Just a few friends, it seems. Do we want to wait on informing the family? You understand about the first trimester, right? You're smart." I stood there sipping coffee, watching her reflection in the stainless steel kettle. Her expression when she thought I wasn't looking was not one of joy, it was calculating. Over the next week, Whitney immersed herself in pregnancy planning with an intensity that would have been heartwarming if I hadn't known the reality. She started a Pinterest board for nursery designs. She placed prenatal vitamins conspicuously on the kitchen counter and arranged an appointment with an obstetrician, Dr. Reynolds at Northwest Medical Center, she declared. I reached out to Northwest Medical Center, but they had no Dr. Reynolds on staff, and their obstetrics department couldn't find any appointments scheduled under Whitney's name. That's when I decided to hire Cross Investigations, a private agency suggested by a colleague who went through a contentious divorce. The investigator, a retired Seattle PD detective named Briggs, was in his 50s and had eyes that spoke of witnessing various forms of human deception. "Are you asking me to track your pregnant wife?" he questioned during our initial meeting at a coffee shop in Ballard. "I need you to follow my supposedly pregnant wife," I clarified. "I underwent a vasectomy 7 years ago, so whatever's happening, it's not biological," Briggs responded thoughtfully. "Are you suspecting a partner trying to pass off his child as his own, or she could be entirely faking the pregnancy?" "Possibly the former or the latter," I replied. "I require proof of the baby's existence and solid evidence for any potential fraud or financial misconduct," he stated dryly. "Legally, no custody issues would arise for a non-existent child. However, these are areas I can build a case around. What's your budget? I've been saving for a house. These funds now have a different purpose, whatever it takes." The investigation was initiated. Briggs assigned 2 individuals to monitor Whitney himself and a partner, a woman named Vaughn, who could trail Whitney without raising suspicions in women's spaces. I maintained my regular routine, pretending to be the eager father-to-be while recording every falsehood. 2 weeks later, Whitney presented me with ultrasound photos. "See," she said, displaying images on her phone. "This is our baby at 8 weeks. I scrutinized the images. They appeared authentic, grainy black and white photos with medical notations. "May I save these?" I inquired. "Of course," she replied. I sent them to Briggs. His response was swift. A reverse image search indicates this ultrasound was posted on 4 separate pregnancy blogs from 2019 to 2021, suggesting she downloaded someone else's pictures. Suspicions grew, yet I sought confirmation. I needed to uncover the motive. It came in late April during her fabricated pregnancy. Whitney proposed we consult a financial planner. Merely for precaution, she explained, since babies can be costly. The supposed financial advisor was actually Whitney's friend, Felix Randall, who dealt in insurance sales. I consented to the meeting, bringing my laptop and a covert audio recording app. Felix presented his proposal smoothly: life insurance, college savings, and a shared investment fund requiring me to liquidate my existing savings and transfer it all into a high-yield account he'd manage. A fresh start for our new family, he said with a toothy smile. Approximately how much are we talking about? I inquired. Your wife mentioned you have around 80,000 saved, he replied. We should begin there, include your next 2 bonus checks, possibly sell some of your tech stocks. The ones you own. I hadn't shared specific numbers with Whitney, which suggested she had been accessing my financial accounts, possibly using the password from my laptop that she'd observed months prior. Let me ponder on it, I replied, feeling the pressure of time as Felix suggested. The best deals are for early registration. After the meeting, I inquired about Whitney's knowledge of my stock portfolio. She responded promptly. You must have told me about it. This wasn't true. Then I likely saw a statement somewhere. She kissed my cheek. Don't dwell on this too much, Blake. We're creating our future, our shared destiny. The words felt bitter. Briggs's investigation was uncovering additional details. Vaughn had trailed Whitney to 3 medical appointments that were actually meetings with a man named Austin Hayes, aged 31, divorced, and employed in commercial real estate. These encounters took place at his apartment in Capitol Hill. Vaughn captured Whitney arriving at 1 p.m. and departing at 4 p.m., her medical visits extending as long as a typical afternoon rendezvous. During our regular check-in, Briggs inquired, should I move closer? Microphones with parabolic shapes are eavesdropping on their conversation. Not yet. I need her to express her demand first. Once she explicitly asks for the money, we'll have her intention on record. You're playing a strategic game, he noted. She's been playing one too, but I'm outmaneuvering her. The significant request came in mid-May. Whitney arranged an intimate dinner at home, with candles and expensive wine she rarely consumed. The meal was for the baby, my favorite cuisine. As the dinner progressed, she grabbed my hand over the table halfway through. Blake, I need to discuss something crucial with you. Yes, the baby has a complication, nothing critical, she added promptly, but the doctor suggests additional testing, unique ones. They're not included in insurance coverage. How much? $15,000. I maintained an expressionless countenance. That's considerable. I comprehend, yet it's our son Blake, our future, those words echoed again. I already discussed with Felix about withdrawing funds from our savings early. Our savings? You mean the money I had prior to our marriage? Her grip tightened. We're married. What belongs to you is ours. That's what a partnership entails. I withdrew my hand gently. Show me the medical documents. I need to understand their suggested course of action. Don't you trust me? I don't question trust, but verification is necessary. Her face displayed an intriguing emotion, a brief flash of rage swiftly replaced by hurt. All right. I'll bring the paperwork tomorrow. Tomorrow arrived, yet no paperwork materialized. Instead, Whitney's texts grew increasingly urgent. The doctor needs your response by Friday. This concerns our child's health, Blake. Why are you acting so selfishly? On Thursday evening, she played her last card. She sat on our couch, sobbing, and explained that if the funds weren't approved by the next day, she would have to ask her mother for money, which would embarrass her and suggest I prioritize family less. All right, I said softly. She looked at me. All right, I'll transfer the money tomorrow to your personal account so you can manage the medical expenses directly. The tears ceased as if a switch had been flipped. Family comes first, right? She gave me a kiss and retreated into the bedroom, likely messaging Austin or Felix about the impending funds. I texted Briggs. She's making a move tomorrow. I need all the documentation you've gathered plus legal recommendations. His pre-prepared reply, you'll want a lawyer named Barrett Coleman, a family law specialist who handles fraud cases. Here's his contact. The following morning, I called in sick to work. Whitney left for her yoga class. Confirmed, met Austin at a coffee shop. Spent 2 hours organizing documents in my home office, vasectomy records, bank statements showing Whitney's unauthorized access attempts, false ultrasound images with their metadata, Briggs' investigation report including photos and recordings of the financial planning meeting, and screenshots of Whitney's pressure texts about money. Then called Barrett Coleman, a 40-year-old lawyer who spoke deliberately and didn't express surprise at my story. Upon reviewing everything I sent, he said, "You've built a strong case." Spretensis tried financial fraud, possibly identity theft if she accessed my accounts without consent. We can file for divorce on fault grounds in Washington state, which influences asset division. How quickly can we proceed? Papers ready by Monday. However, Blake, you need to understand that assisting her will terminate your monitoring task. Are you certain you possess all necessary information? I contemplated the contents of my safe's envelope. There's one more element to include, something she's unaware of. What's that? The fact that I've had a vasectomy, which proves her alleged pregnancy is fraudulent from the beginning. That's your ultimate strategy, Barrett acknowledged. Utilize it judiciously. Upon returning home that afternoon, Whitney seemed radiant. Did you complete the transfer? Actually, I'd prefer to handle it jointly at the bank just to ensure everything is processed correctly for the medical billing. Her radiance faded slightly. You still don't believe in me. I trust that $15,000 requires careful consideration. We visited the bank on Saturday morning. Whitney wore a loose dress highlighting her supposed baby bump. I had observed, possibly enhanced by strategic clothing and padding. In the bank, I requested a meeting with a representative to go over a transfer and its tax implications. The representative, Gretchen, accessed my accounts, transferring $15,000 into your wife's personal account. That can be arranged, Mr. Donovan. May I ask why? For our records, you responded. Medical expenses, Whitney quickly added, for the baby. Congratulations. When is the due date? November. Gretchen noted this down. And are you certain about transferring the funds into Mrs. Donovan's personal account instead of a joint one for medical billing purposes? Personal account, Whitney interjected. Actually, I've changed my mind. I'd like to halt all account transfers for 72 hours while I review some documents. Whitney turned her gaze towards me. What? It's an option the bank provides for large transfers. Just want to ensure everything is accurate. I addressed Gretchen. Can you make that happen? Of course, I'll flag your accounts now. We exited the bank in silence. In the vehicle, Whitney broke her silence. What on earth was that? You asked for due diligence. But this concerns our child's health. We can delay paying medical bills for 72 hours. The rest of the weekend passed without any words between us. She stayed in the guest room, sending messages incessantly. It appeared Briggs was her contact with Austin and Felix, possibly devising an alternative plan. On Monday, Barrett submitted the divorce documents. I had requested that they include a provision for investigating fraud, accusing her of falsifying pregnancy and financial manipulation. The papers were delivered to Whitney at work by a process server. She arrived home at 6 p.m., envelope in hand, visibly pale. What's this? She asked, referring to the divorce documents. Because I asked for money for our baby, I explained. Are you mad? She replied. There is no baby with Whitney. After a moment of silence, her mouth opened and closed. What are you saying? I presented my own envelope, the one from the safe. 7 years ago, I underwent a vasectomy prior to our acquaintance. Here are my medical records that verify a 0 sperm count. They include lab results and follow-up confirmations. Regardless of your intentions, they won't involve any child of mine since I don't have one. She scrutinized the papers I placed on the coffee table. They're forgeries, she asserted. They are authenticated medical documents. My lawyer and doctor both possess copies. I produced my phone, displaying a folder containing fake ultrasound images. The ultrasounds you presented to me were pilfered from pregnancy blogs spanning 2019 to 2021. A reverse image search confirms this. You have been investigating me, attempting to defraud me. I have recorded the evidence and shown it to her. I then exhibited Briggs's report, photos of her with Austin entering his apartment and strategizing at a coffee shop with Felix. Whitney slumped onto the couch, familiarizing herself with details concerning Austin Hayes and his partnership with Felix regarding a questionable investment scheme. She's aware that attempts have been made to gain access to her financial accounts, all of which are outlined in the divorce filing. Upon glancing up, she found the room empty of any emotion, only cold evaluation. What do you want? A straightforward response. Nothing, she affirms, denying you any claim. Given the nature of the divorce on fault grounds, asset distribution will overwhelmingly favor her. In this scenario, she recommends securing separate legal representation, as proving intent would be challenging for your case. She has recordings showing you pressuring her for $15,000, ostensibly for fake medical procedures related to a fabricated pregnancy. Additionally, there's evidence of your collusion with Felix Randall on financial schemes. Your intentions are evident. After a prolonged moment of silence, she inquired, when did you become aware that the pregnancy was false? From the instant she presented you with the positive test results, she knew it was implausible. The documents were carefully collected and returned to their envelope. 30 days are left for your departure from the apartment according to the lease terms. After that, I'll be altering the locks. Your audacity nearly made me chuckle as you question my life, but you're not damaging mine. You're merely preventing me from doing so. You attempted to deceive me with a falsified pregnancy claim, aimed at stealing my savings and manipulating me for 3 months. However, the evidence against you was overwhelming: fabricated ultrasounds, financial planning schemes, and unauthorized account access. The judge, Mrs. Sullivan, reviewed everything with an expression of someone reading a disappointing book. During the final hearing, she asked you, "Mrs. Donovan, do you have anything to say?" Whitney admitted to fabricating evidence of pregnancy, scheduling fake doctor appointments, and colluding with a third party to deceive her husband into liquidating assets. The judge's tone was stern, stating that this wasn't a mistake, it was fraud. Were criminal charges being pressed? Whitney's lawyer inquired. I pondered over the lost nights of sleep, the betrayal, the calculated malice of someone once loved attempting to entrap me. Eventually, I replied negatively: the divorce was enough. The judge approved the dissolution. I retained the apartment, my savings, and investments. Whitney received nothing from the marriage except her personal possessions and a legal record that would follow her. Subsequent clients accused Felix Randolph of financial fraud after my case brought his business under scrutiny, implying that I was not his first target. Remarkably, Austin Hayes remained married during his affair with Whitney. 2 weeks following the public disclosure of our case, my spouse initiated divorce proceedings. For a month post-divorce, I kept the receipt from my vasectomy on my desk. These 3 documents, procedure notes, lab results, and a billing statement, prevented me from fiscal collapse and years of control. Eventually, I placed them back in storage, often contemplating what could have transpired if I were someone different, someone who didn't record events, someone who trusted unreservedly, someone who would have paid $15,000 initially, then an additional $80,000 for the baby's surgery or specialized care. Such a person would have been left bankrupt, questioning why their child bore no resemblance to them, and wondering why paternity tests were repeatedly postponed by Whitney. Instead, I now reside in a new apartment in Fremont with improved security features and boundaries. Dating occasionally, I am more transparent about the vasectomy. It's not appropriate for first dates, but it's certainly discussed before things become serious. Most women value this candor. One individual found it refreshing that many men falsely claim they want children in the future. I'm unsure about Whitney's current whereabouts. She supposedly moved to Portland and deactivated her Instagram account. Austin's former wife contacted me once, stating my investigation provided her with evidence for her own separation. Felix served 6 months in prison for fraud and lost his insurance license. The most difficult aspect wasn't the betrayal itself. It was discovering how extensively she had planned it. The pregnancy announcement wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. Instead, it was strategically calculated. She researched fake ultrasounds, enlisted Felix before informing me, and was romantically involved with Austin while plotting our future together. Each kiss, each "I love you," every instance of fabricated intimacy was part of the ruse. However, I gained a valuable lesson. Trust is a precious gift to be bestowed cautiously, but verification is merely common sense. Document what's important. Doubt what doesn't make sense. Never undervalue the force of a medical record stating the truth amidst deception. I am Blake Donovan. Earlier, I thought family symbolized loyalty. Now, I understand that family consists of individuals you construct with those who genuinely deserve it, not the ones who manipulate pregnancy tests to ensnare you. Here's the entire narrative about how 3 documents from a vasectomy 7 years ago shielded me from losing everything.